All right. Welcome to The Salted Tree, episode 1. We're back. It's going to be an exciting year. Definitely a lot of changes, but we're ready to take it on, and we hope you enjoy the ride. So, I'm Ben. I'm a senior, and I'm going to be doing school on campus in Drayton Dorm this year.
Hey guys, I'm Aniket. I'm a day student. I'm also going to be a senior, and I'm going to be doing school. I'm going to be going to school.
Hey, I'm Sklar. I'm a senior day student, and I'm going to be doing on-campus learning as well.
All right, I'm Peyton. I'm a senior, and I'm going to be going to campus as well.
I'm Silas. I'm a junior, day student, and I'm going to be going on campus as well.
Yeah, my name is Amari. I'm a senior. I'm a boarder, and I'm going to be on campus too.
I'm Zeke. I'm a boarder, and I'm going to be in Upper Drayton on campus.
Mr. Well, I'm a senior day student, and I'm going to be going hybrid. So.
Hey, I'm a Kindle. I'm a senior day student. I'll be doing hybrid as well.
I'm Jacob. I'm a senior boarder, and I will be doing on campus in Upper Drayton as well.
And I am Scott, and I am on campus as we speak, and I am so excited to kick off this new season.
All right, so now that we've all introduced ourselves, it's time to jump into our first talk. First episode, pretty excited. We're going to be talking a little bit about on-campus life and how that's going to look. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes. School's going to look a lot different this year, and us here at the Salted Tree are just trying to break it down and talk a little bit about it before we all ship off to school in the next upcoming weeks.
Yeah, so to go to on-campus life to start it off, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like last year, there were some times where it was pretty boring, and that was before we would ever all this Corona stuff and all these restrictions would come along. And now we got the restrictions, and I don't know if you didn't read those restrictions, man, just don't even read them because you're just gonna be so sad, man. Because it's just like, what's the point? I got friends saying it's basically prison, and if you think about it, it kind of is. Locked up in their room all day, can't even go get lunch. They serve you lunch. At least in prison they get to play basketball. We can't even play sports anymore. But yeah, man, it's just gonna be tough. But what are your all's thoughts?
No, yeah, I wasn't really keeping up with it because I wasn't sure if I was actually going back until a couple of days ago. And a couple of my friends were like this too because my parents were really hesitant about it. They were really thinking about keeping me home. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but my parents were up until the last minute, they were really just thinking about it. But they decided that they wanted me to go back. And so I haven't read any of the updates. I just read this recent email that talks about the bathrooms and stuff like that and how the middle sink is shut off. I don't know if I can remember all this. To be honest, that's my only concern. It's not really the rules that are my problem. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to remember all the regulations. That's my biggest.
There's definitely a lot. I'm not a boarder, but I got the emails and stuff, or I guess my mom forwarded me emails for some reason. I don't know, but there's it's where day students, if you're going in the morning, and it's are you going to be pushed off into a corner in the back? Are they going to set up plastic tables or something? Or are you going to be in the meeting house? It's so confusing to me, at least. And the other thing that kind of made me question it a little is they're oh yeah, you guys are not allowed to interact with boarding students at all. And it's that seems a bit ridiculous, but I don't know.
No, it's a big question. How strict are the rules actually going to be enforced when we get to school? Because there's a lot of rules. The list just goes on and on. But I have a feeling that a lot of those rules are kind of meant to put our parents at ease, to send us back to school. That's at least my hope, because obviously, like, I'm a kid. I just want to have fun in high school and hang out with my friends and, you know, all that fun stuff. But sounds like with all the restrictions and everything being put into place, like, that's definitely going to be pretty hard to do. And I know, like, I've been on Instagram, you know, scrolling through, and a lot of these kids, like, aren't social distancing. So in the top of every email, it's like everyone's going to be wearing masks and 6 feet apart. And I just don't know, like, how realistic that's going to be, like, once we actually start school. So what do you guys think about that?
Personally, like, I know Peyton said her parents were on edge about sending her, but like mine was the opposite. My dad said, you're going and you don't have a choice. So, but like I was kind of happy because I've been bored for the past 5-6 months, however long it's been. I've been mad bored. So I was just trying to go to school and have whatever semblance of fun we're gonna have, you know what I mean? But with all these rules, like, personally, I don't think you can have all those rules with a bunch of kids on campus at one time. I don't think everybody's going to follow all those rules all the time. Like, I think it might come close, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But it is looking like prison, you know, it's looking rough.
And we got to look at what's like happened on other campuses. We see that, like, you know, we see a lot of pictures of schools that reopen even with these guidelines, and like, you know, within like a couple of weeks, like, they're closed and they've sent all their kids home for online because they couldn't enforce them. So I think there's a lot of questions from students, and I think even from faculty, probably, like, what is it going to look like? What are the plans? So I feel like, you know, no plan survives contact, you know, with the ground. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these guidelines that they've set will translate into, you know, our real experience in our, you know, senior and junior years.
Yeah, I think what's really going to be interesting is like the weekend activities, because I mean, they're obviously going to have some type of weekend activity, because it's just be locked up in your room 5 days a week from 8 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. I mean, you got to go outside at some point. And it's like, obviously, they're going to have to keep us socially distanced or whatever. And we're going to have to wear masks. And it's not like they're going to take us off campus because we can't leave. So it's just going to be, I feel like, you know, they're not going to have a lot of options really for us to do. Maybe like outside the movie day, or like a movie day, like outside or something. But yeah, it's going to be very limited.
I mean, I'm pretty worried about that too, because everybody knows that Shari's go-to is a van to the movies and a van to the mall. And those would be pretty consistent every weekend. And none of those are going to happen. So I'm just wondering, like, you know, how much fun activities in Marshall can I put myself through before I really start getting super bored on the weekends. So that's going to be pretty tough this year, I feel like.
As a day student, I mean, this is gonna sound like such a Sklar thing to say, but the one thing I think is gonna suck for 2021 school year is I usually, last year and all prior years, I would go eat breakfast at school. Sometimes I'd stay for dinner. Like if I was doing like managing volleyball and stuff, I was like on podcast nights, I'd go eat dinner and then I'd go to the podcast, you know? And that, I mean, that's going to be like, and not to the fact that I can't even do it, but for boarders, lunches kind of suck now, you know, they got those prepackaged meals. And I mean, that seems terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of happy I'm not in that situation to where I actually have like real food in my house, but I just think that's a really big hit for me at least, and I bet it's a bit for a lot of people as well.
I was gonna, but I just realized it was a really stupid question, so I decided not to ask it. My bad.
I think something that also like we don't appreciate now, but I think when we go back, we're gonna miss it. Is like walking to class and seeing friends that we don't even like. Maybe you're not in the same class, but you'll just pass by them and you'll like do whatever, say hi, and like we don't get that now because we're staying in one class and then or we move like twice basically. So then as Sklar said with the lunches, like if you've ever done a sport and they pack you those sandwiches, like that's basically what lunch is gonna be, right? So yeah, I see you guys shaking your heads. So yeah, I'm not thrilled about that either. So yeah, it's it's a tough situation, but I feel like a lot of people have been complaining, but I don't know which one of you said it, but like if we were to open up and the school is basically to say like, oh, we're not gonna have any guidelines or we're gonna have very loose guidelines, like I'm not coming back. My parents won't let me come back. So I think they've done what pleases the parents, who at the end of the day are the ones that are paying, and they've tried to make it so that at the end of the day we can learn and still be somewhat around each other at the same time. And it's not what we wanted, but it's sort of the best we can ask for right now. So yeah.
Definitely, like, I'm a bit worried, like, we're seeing, like, a lot of, like, colleges and, like, universities who were initially going to bring in people, like, reopen just, like regularly. Like, for instance, UNC Chapel Hill and Notre Dame, but now they're going straight back to online because there's, like, a giant spike. And obviously, we're not the same size as a large school, a large like public school, or a really large university, but it's still like worrying that like that can happen so easily. And granted, like there are more ways to interact on in university, but definitely like it's going to be really interesting to see like how we can, I guess, have some semblance of a campus life.
Last thing before we switch, my biggest thing is like the fact that we have to go and we have to like commit to it for 3 months and like we can't go home, I'm pretty sure, is what I heard. Like I think that's ridiculous because I don't know if y'all saw this email, right? But they emailed something to our parents trying to give us like an idea of what the day-to-day would be like. And it was like, oh, you wake up and you're scheduled to have a morning shower so you can shower at 7:30. And when you use the sink, you make sure not to use the sink next to your friend. And then you go down to get breakfast, but you have your masks on and you're staying socially distanced, you know what I mean? And then it was a Friday, so then they were talking about, oh, we have a socially distant karaoke session at the end of the night. So I was just like, man, like, is that really something I'm about to commit to until November? Like, yeah, but that's just the last thing. The fact, like this could go terribly, man. Could be terrible.
And the whole thing, it's caused a lot of problems for everyone, but each grade has had a slightly different experience in dealing with it. You see freshmen who they're not getting their first year of high school in the way that they wanted. You see people like juniors who are the way that they're experiencing the heart of their education is changing here. And for a lot of us who are on this call who are seniors, it's affected a lot of things on our college search, on our SATs, things like that, and that also affects some juniors as well. And I think that's one of the biggest things. We can't visit colleges. A lot of our SATs have been canceled. A lot of these things like standardized tests and like just learning about where you want to go in this application, it's all completely changed by this. And so I think because a lot of us are seniors, some of us could speak to that experience.
Yeah, I just had a college counseling meeting the other day, and not gonna lie, like it was pretty scary. I just feel like, I feel like I can speak for a couple of us, if not all of us. Like I feel pretty behind. I didn't get to have that good spring, summer period off where I could go around, visit schools, like tour, meet kids from different campuses, like tool around places, kind of get the vibe from colleges. I feel like I'm just kind of behind, and especially for the SATs, nobody really knows how that's going to work at school. Like, if we have to go take the SATs, are we don't have to, quarantine for 2 weeks after it? So, it's just kind of a big question mark for me at this point.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can kind of answer Ben's question because I took the ACT in July. So I took it over in Temple, and basically, like for the whole thing, ask you some questions at the start, like the general questions like, oh, have you been outside the country in the past 14 days? Like, are you experiencing X, Y, and Z symptoms? The regular COVID symptoms, and then after that, like just making sure that everybody's like 6 feet apart, and It was a really interesting experience as far as like kind of just like seeing how like people are trying to adapt to the situation, especially because a lot of schools even though it is test optional, like it still seems like we definitely still have to take these exams. Otherwise, it'll just like reflect poorly unless like like a lot of us aren't able to. But overall, I think I think people are just kind of trying to do the best job that they can.
Yeah, and like I know Ben was talking about like feeling behind, but like we're gonna be missing out on some really good things, senior privileges, and like I don't know about y'all, but I was really looking forward to going to Starbucks on like a night where I had zero homework, and I don't even like coffee. I think Starbucks is kind of like I don't understand it, but I just go there for the experience, maybe get a water or something, but just like do homework or something, and then just be able to, and I'm gonna be a prefect, and I'm excited about the job, but I mean, it would have been nice to, have the day off, once a week or something and just go out into Newtown or whatever. But, and also, I don't know the other senior privileges. I mean, but I do know like we already missed out on our junior prom, which I know a lot of people were excited for that. And then, I'm probably just going to say it like, we're probably going to miss out on our senior prom, and who knows if we have a graduation. And I just feel like that's going to make a lot of people upset. Like if that does happen, like once they realize it, because, the last class before us that graduated, we all saw what happened to them, and how sad they were and disappointed that they wouldn't have prom and a graduation and stuff like that. So just hopefully everything works out for us.
All right, so I actually want to talk about a positive that I think this COVID stuff has brought to the college search. So, I mean, before COVID, I mean, it was kind of normal. You'd go on a plane or a car ride, whatever college you're going to, and you'd have to go visit the school. You take like a whole weekend off. But I feel like with the new COVID going around, it's been a lot easier. While it's not the same experience, obviously, because you're not seeing it in person. I sometimes go do like 3 or 4 info sessions a day on some colleges and just like, even some that I've already been to. I just just visit it. And like while they had info sessions before COVID-19, I feel like there's more of them now. It's more popular to do that. And I just think this is one of the positives that it's actually brought. And I feel like this could actually be more effective in the future. And I feel like even after we get the vaccine and all that, there's still going to be info sessions, which I think is a good plus.
Yeah, I think he brings up a good point there. There's a lot of like there's a couple plus things at least for the college search. In terms of, the test, like a lot of schools are just going completely test optional. And I think before, test optional kind of meant, you can not submit your SAT, but you'll probably have a lower chance of getting in. But now, with everybody going test optional, I've been searching through colleges, and every single college I've looked at has been test optional. Brown, Columbia, University of Pennsylvania, even all the big ones, big to small, everyone's test optional. So even though, there's people like me who every single SAT and ACT has been canceled on from like March to now, it still means that even if it's canceled or you weren't really good at taking a standardized test in the first place, you still have a chance of getting in. So, that's some kind of positive, I guess.
I mean, not to get negative again, but like to Sklar's point, like it's definitely better because you can do all that stuff like in the comfort of your own home. But there's something to be said about being able to get like the feeling of the campus. You know what I mean? And being able to see people when you walk around and see the kids interact and all that stuff. Because like I remember we went on the college tour to DC, and we went to GW and however many other schools, but like being able to feel the environment and even like ask questions to random kids who are walking around campus. Because like in these info sessions, you're gonna get the answers that they want you to hear. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, it's somewhat less authentic, but it's definitely better to be able to do it in the comfort of your own house.
Yeah, and I want to add on to what Zeke said about the campus feel. With a specific example in mind, and anyone who went on the college tour can back this up. We went to Goucher on a day when it was raining and cold, and that wasn't the only thing that made me not like the campus, but like it kind of just pushed me away from the whole thing and made it kind of dark and gloomy to me. So Like all the other campuses we went to, it was like nice and sunny on those days. So, I just like them so much better. So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to say.
So, I mean, we don't really see an end to the COVID right now. So, considering, all the grades under us probably will still have to deal with this, especially the juniors when they're seniors. Does anyone have any ideas for like what we're going through this now? What should we say to the people who are younger than us? Like we don't know that much, but what can we tell other people? Like what have we learned so far?
I think we should just like take it a day at a time. Like, I mean, the thing is, we're just like bogged down with like all the stress of like college, what it basically like the idea of like I guess trying to get into a good one, or like how well we do. Well, obviously how well we do in school is very important, but certainly like I think during this whole thing, I probably read more books out of like pure interest rather than like out of like let me just read I don't know like 11 the time of cholera just for the sake of doing Melena's class. Now it just like it feels like I can like I guess learn things that I guess not just at like a pace that's more akin to mine, but also just like doing more things like not purely out of boredom, but like so just to can pass the time.
One thing that I wish I knew when I was a sophomore, this is prime time. If you're a sophomore, this is prime time to have fun. Like you don't really have to like have amazing grades right now, and you have the least amount of responsibility that you will have as like with the most amount of like freedom, because once you become a junior, you have to focus on your grades, and once you become a senior, you're applying to college. But while you're a freshman, like you're a freshman, so you can't like be too crazy. So sophomore year is prime time to just be yourself and do what you want. So do that, please.
Okay. Well, to sort of start to talk about things that have been going on during quarantine, some types of entertainment. What was there? There's been a bunch of movies, music, streaming stuff. And to be honest, artists and entertainers, they've actually been doing a good job, like keeping people entertained during quarantine. Like the NBA came back, for example. I just watched the playoffs yesterday. Playoffs started yesterday, which was really, really good. And yeah, what else did you find, Silas?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't been paying too much attention to sports. I've just been so busy. But one thing I did notice was Disney Plus releasing Mulan for $30 additional on their streaming service, which, in my opinion, complete money grab, ridiculous. You're already paying. I don't know how much Disney Plus is. I don't have it, but
Disney Plus is like super cheap though. That's the thing.
Still, but like $30 to see Mulan. Like if the theaters were still out, you could probably see it for like $12. So I mean, in my opinion, that is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, if I got to pay $30 to watch that movie, I mean, I might have to pirate it because, they were releasing other movies on the network or on the service for free, and you just paid your subscription. And I mean, I was really excited for that movie. And, and they're probably going to do the same thing with Black Widow. They'll probably even increase the price, make it $40, so that's ridiculous.
I mean, that's a huge thing right now because like the companies are like, how are we going to make money from the movies if like no one's coming to the theaters? Like not as like the companies aren't going to make as much money if people aren't going in like the thousands or the millions to go see these new movies. And, people are like, I'm already paying $7.99 for Disney Plus. I don't know why I need to pay another $40 for the movie. It's like from the consumer side, it's too much money. From the company side, they feel like they're not getting enough money. So, how we're going to like consume media, like going towards this like whole COVID thing, like, I don't know how it's going to go. Things might be more money. They might realize they just need to up the streaming service prices. It might all just end. Like, at least there's still stuff for us to watch
and listen to. And if you knew me, rap is my favorite genre. And this year, I told some people 2020 might have been the best year in music, and the year's not even over yet. And I mean, there's so many albums and deluxe albums that came out. I mean, my favorite album of the year is definitely Wanna from Gunna. Oh my, I think that album was, and the deluxe was amazing, man. And documentary, you got to watch the documentary. And Lil Baby, he dropped My Turn. I didn't like My Turn at first. I'm not gonna lie, I did not like My Turn at first. You know, I don't think I was in the right listening mood. Then I listened to it on a road trip, and I was like, man, he didn't have to snap like that. I mean, he just went off for no reason. I mean, and the year is not even over yet. Drake's about to release another album this summer. Lil Uzi and Future about to release a collab tape. They saying Juice WRLD's about to release another album, or his label.
From the grave.
One thing I think we have to talk about was WAP. WAP came out.
However, it's a good time for Andy to really talk about it.
I think we have to have a conversation about that. You know, Scott, do you know what? Do you know what that is? Have you heard about that?
No, but I would love to.
I would love you to know it too. I think you should watch the video as soon as this podcast said.
Nikki, do you know by heart by now? Can you sing us the chorus? Like, is that something?
No, actually, I heard the song once, but
yeah,
you know, I think what was even more interesting was the video was even crazier than the song. But yeah, it shocked the entertainment world. You know what I mean? A lot of people were hating on it. I don't think it deserved as much hate as it got. It wasn't really that serious, but I think that's been the biggest thing recently.
Z, can you break that down for myself and any listeners who don't know about this yet?
I think most
too vulgar. You can't.
I think it's.
I think I got it.
To feel the true essence of WAP, you have to view it.
I'm not gonna lie. I first saw it when Ben Shapiro started reading it in like this most monotonous tone, and like it was all over Twitter, and it was so funny. But
it was beautiful. It was a work of art.
Oh, it was.
I remember.
Oh, you go, man.
Sorry. I remember when I was in middle school, Anaconda came out, and that was like a new frontier in the rap industry. That was like a whole new world had opened up to me once that song dropped. And now I feel like Anaconda really is the people's, the WAP, whatever, is really like the people's evolution of what Nicki Minaj tried to start so many years ago. And I think it's just like Anaconda was here, WAP is up here. #1 on the Billboard, whatever, top 100. And I think it's there to stay.
I don't know, man. I personally don't like the song. You know, it's not my type of song. But like,
you can't relate.
I can't relate. But like, just like to Anaconda, like I can bump that song. That song, right? That was a certified classic, right? And you know, Nicki Minaj. If it goes on the playlist, if the playlist plays it, Spotify recommends it, you know, I'll listen to it. But WAP, man. And in the video, I think the video was pretty good, but like, and a lot of people were hating on Kylie. And me personally, I don't, you know, had nothing against Kylie. You know, she's doing her thing. You know, it's whatever to me. But I think she didn't really. I mean, I don't know what her purpose in the video was there for, or whatever. But I mean, people were petitioning to get her out of the video, or whatever. I think that's a little extreme. Like, you know, what did she do to you? And also, like, Cardi and Megan, if they had her in the video, there was obviously a reason for her in the video. And it probably got them more clicks, too, so.
I mean, just before we move on, something, you know, I don't want to admit this, but you can't talk about media in, like, the time of coronavirus without talking about TikTok. Because as much as I hate to say it, that app has dominated the American, like, you know, social popular culture for, like, the past couple of months. You can't talk about WAP without talking about TikTok. You can't talk about pretty much any song that comes out without talking about TikTok. It's either, you know, the newest great thing or the world's newest epidemic that's even worse than COVID-19 when you talk to different people. So I thought I had to mention it.
Yo, TikTok. Oh my God. Like, okay. So I don't use TikTok often. And I mean, I never saw the appeal to it, but it's helping so many people throughout the coronavirus. Like, no, but I mean, like, and then like talks about banning it. Like, in my opinion, it's all so ridiculous. Like, it's a company. It should be able to be owned by whoever they want to be owned by. And like, I don't know. I want to hear your guys' thoughts about this real quick. So.
Well,
Okay.
I think that maybe me and Scott are the only people here that don't have TikTok.
No, I don't have TikTok either. So
Okay.
I mean, neither.
You don't either, Ziki? Yeah. So like I didn't get it because at first it was just like people dancing and clowning around. And I still don't have it now because like anything good on TikTok finds its way to either Instagram or Snapchat or some other platform. But the whole thing about banning it, and I'm not gonna get into politics, but it's like it has nothing to do with the content that's on the app. Like it's just as Silas said, it's the people that own it. And yeah, I think some of the leaders are prioritizing on wrong things because we sort of got a global pandemic going on, and people are talking about banning some social media apps. That sort of baffles me. And as much as I don't like it, like banning it, like what are we talking? That's like your house being on fire, and then you're worried about like, did you mow the lawn this morning? Like, well, let's prioritize things in the right order. And yeah, I feel that's not happening here. So I didn't know what you wanted to say. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, like TikTok is very successful. I mean, all the TikTokers that have passed up in like the past year, and now like, because Instagram likes to copy every other company. With stories from Snapchat or whatever, and now they got Reels, and like, I don't know. I was just on my phone. I was like, I thought Reels was IGTV, or they just rebranded it as something new. But I guess it's like their version of TikTok or whatever. But I personally like TikTok. I'm not on the dance side and stuff like that or whatever, that nonsense. But I do like how you can just like put the clips together and create like videos, especially like sports clips or like the rankings of songs and stuff like that. That's what I do. What I watch on TikTok and stuff like that. But, I mean, I think banning it's kind of stupid or whatever. I mean, I don't think it's hurting anyone really. I mean, except for like the little kids. I don't know if that was true or not, but I heard like kids were getting tracked or stalked or kidnapped or something like that. You know how the internet is.
I think I kind of get the reason as to why they want to ban TikTok primarily because like there is like an issue of national security as far as like the fact that it's owned by ByteDance, which is a Chinese-owned company, and like in China, because they have a more totalitarian government as far as like it goes within like privacy or when it goes into what businesses can like give to the actual government. So there was that worry, which I think is fairly well founded, but also it's like we seem to be just doing the same thing that China was doing when they banned Google and Facebook in in mainland China. So I think that I think it's pretty interesting how like a lot of like artists, it seems like that they're tailoring their songs in order for them to go viral on TikTok. Like you all remember Tootsie Slide earlier this year with Drake, and I think and how like Donald Trump kind of got like trolled by people on TikTok for that rally. So like it's kind of interesting to see like how when this goes into I guess real life consequences, how they can manifest. So what do you guys think about like how people like discuss topics on TikTok? Because it's like I guess I don't know, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's politics and our relations with like China and stuff like that, especially on TikTok, is very interesting because like I'm sure most of you guys have seen those videos where it's like it'll start up as like a makeup tutorial, but then it'll talk about the Uyghurs and the concentration camps and like free Hong Kong and stuff like that. But in my opinion, this is just it's a dangerous escalation with our relations with China. Like probably some of you guys know, we closed their consulate in Houston, and they in return closed one of our consulates in like southeastern China, southwestern China, and it's nasty. Like we are in a culture of political toxicity. We're in a culture of societal toxicity, and like things are just so brash and open now, especially with the advent of the internet and social media. It's just it's it can get bad. It can get really bad.
And yeah, even during that time, you can see that, abroad and here with our own election cycle starting up, you can see a lot of, you can see a new topic on everyone's Instagram stories each week, for better or for worse. Everybody's telling you, giving you new advice, like, now this is the topic you need to be concerned about. This is the new thing. This is the new social justice issue. And, that can be good and bad. But everyone's to a certain extent telling you the newest thing to do, and that can be overwhelming. And I think in that time when you're overwhelmed by politics, something that really unites us all is our love of food. And I think that can really smoothly move us into something that I think you'll find refreshing, some food tips from Sklar.
All right, this is going to be a weekly thing. So today's session, I'm going to talk about Kraft mac and cheese, all right? I mean, it's the box stuff. It's not the best thing in the world, but I mean, most people love Kraft mac and cheese, but I got some tips to make it so much better, and it's so easy, all right? All right, tip number 1, margarine, butter, whatever you use, they ask you to do 4 tablespoons. Then the health thing at the bottom, they ask you to do 2. There's really no point. I would go for 2 because I'm going to talk about this in the second step. Adding so much butter, it makes it a lot creamier. But the best trait with mac and cheese is you got that, that you bite into a mozzarella stick, right? The cheese goes out. That's the best part about mac and cheese, not the little creamy, liquidy stuff, So add less butter, margarine, whatever you use. Second, which ties in number 1, add a little bit of the less cheese from the box, and then add some shredded cheddar jack cheese. That instead, with the cheese in the box, it's like the powder stuff. It's only going to add cheese flavor, and now you're not going to get like the actual cheese flavoring. It's very simple, just like a handful and a half, just add that cheddar jack, makes it a lot creamier. All right. And then the third, this easy, you can go a little like, it's a bit of a work for it. Even if you have like stuff in the fridge, it actually helps, but add some, if you like it, add some bacon bits. All right. You get just a tiny bit of bacon bits, or like sometimes if you're not into bacon, you could do chicken, just a tiny bit of bacon bits. You could do homemade. There's stuff you could like get little bacon bits that are fridge and just add them in 3 minutes later. Honestly, this makes it so much better. I do every single time I make Kraft mac and cheese. That's how it is. Those are my tips for Kraft mac and cheese. If you do any other way, I'd be really mad at you.
Dang! There you have it, folks. Sklar's food tips. Episode 1. This will be a weekly recurring segment on the Salted Tree. Season 2, year 2. We're back. Better than ever. We're here to stay. COVID has nothing on us. You see it. We're going to be back. YouTube's up now. We're going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you can find podcasts. We're there. Salted Tree signing out. Thank you.